What's going on, everybody? It's Breeze,
Michael.
and we're here for another episode of the What's Cooking podcast, home with the hottest entrepreneurs around the city.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you can see, Mike finally reached the studio. No shade. But we have two guests with us, the tag team champions of the WWE.
Right.
Sir.
Yeah, we gotta stop at
Jay
Jay Fields.
I was gonna let y'all say it, but I'm gonna say anyways. Jay Fields is with us today, so yeah, we're gonna let them speak about what they do as a tag team business. They do a lot in terms of like what they branch out to, but for the most part, it's all tied together. So yeah.
I'll just start. Yeah, we're J Field LLC. My name is TJ, and I'll just let John introduce yourself.
I'm Jay Frank.
Yeah. So what we do at J Field, we are a small business consulting and project management firm. So as Fabrice said, we span across 4 specific different industries. So blockchain, cannabis, entertainment, and real estate. So we make sure to focus on the bases of business within those different industries and just tie everything back into the real foundation and structure of business.
So this whole time I thought Jay Field was one person.
It's two of them. It's
It's weird because it's like I want Jay Field like the Instagram page, and I just saw him. I think this is Jay Field.
Yeah.
But then like when I actually spoke to Jay Field, I was speaking to him the whole time. And I'm speaking to him from his personal page, so I'm just like, it's two of y'all. Like I'm confused because both
There's
of them
some
have Jay Field.
substitution juice.
And I was just talking about them. I was just talking about it with them just now on the side, but yeah, like it's this is actually our first, like I guess you say, double like business in terms of having like 2 people working together. So this is pretty interesting to see how both you guys share similarities and differences in terms of how you guys like feel about your business.
Yeah.
Now that's an interesting point you brought up. I think even when we were on our way here, I was talking to TJ and he was basically, we were both basically agreeing that, it's a lot easier to make it to $1 million when you have 2 people.
All you gotta do is get 500K.
And secondly, but most importantly, we understand that if you're gonna do something well and be successful at it, you can't do it by yourself. Like everybody says, you can't grow in isolation. So the idea that the best way to even think about structuring, in my opinion, a business to start out would be, like it takes a village. So like who's gonna be the first person in my village?
Yeah.
None other than TJ Belfield. Like you feel me? So
People love running with this idea, like, oh, I did this by myself. I did this. Like,
That's
it's not the
self-made
flex you
motion.
think.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not the flex you think it is, man.
that's a fact. And I mean, once you start to running, one business that even gets successful,
Yeah.
and it branches out to other
Exactly.
things and to other things. How many things can you really do by
By
yourself,
yourself, right,
before you burn out or just die? Like
Sometimes you need a team. Like even if you're like the CEO and the main employee, it's like you're gonna need employees, right? You're gonna need to build a team because you can't just continue to do everything on your own. You can in the beginning, but it's like as your clientele grows and stuff.
That's why there's
You need people to
headquarters
help
and
reach
there's
out.
franchises.
that's a fact.
That's a word.
That's a super fact.
And also not even like needing help, but a different perspective. I think that's key to a lot of business. Like, you may think you have it all figured out and you don't. And
I don't know it all. Like, I want everybody to like put
that
this
on
right
record.
here.
Record.
Just because I'm a lawyer does not mean I know everything. I am a human being just like everybody else. I make mistakes.
Right.
And my delivery sometimes may come off as extremely aggressive, but I do not know it all.
Right.
But what Jay Frank does is apply his knowledge mad fast. Because we had that conversation less than an hour ago about so knowing
He soaked it up. He soaked
it up and put it right back.
That's good. I like that.
In and out.
When you package something for your business that you're gonna sell,
Yeah.
you gotta package it real quick and sell it to the
Get it
people.
out.
Get it off. That's what 50 Cent said. Fix the shit off.
That's a fact.
I already got a question already.
Go ahead.
Alright, so basically, you know how y'all do like taxes and everything like that. So my question is, what is the relationship where people, 9 times out of 10 people who get into taxes do real estate, can y'all explain like why people do that? Like,
Alright, so to start out,
It sounds easy.
it does sound
That's
easy.
really what it is. Like,
And to make it very clear for people who may not know, myself, Jay Frank, TJ, Terrell, James Belfield, all of that, we don't, Joshua Daniel Franklin and Terrell James Belfield, We don't file anybody's taxes.
Mm.
We don't. We don't prepare them.
Mm.
We don't file them.
Mm.
We don't get people refund and give it to them. We don't do none of that. But what we do is strategically plan with the business assets and the business structure to create the best strategy for that business, no matter what tax we go through. If you have a business by yourself, you're a sole proprietor. We have a business together, we have to file taxes together.
Right.
And so the structure, the way we do that is also determined on my personal income from my W-2s, his personal income from his W-2s, and based on that structure as well as our own 1099s and other business income that we use, create one specific structure. So the way that ties into, real estate, blockchain, cannabis, entertainment, at the end of the day, Uncle Sam want their back. You feel me? And so, as we know, if Donald Trump is not paying more than $750 in taxes, Jeff Bezos is paying $0 in taxes. I think something that me and Terrell hold very dear to us is the fact that you can run your business like a large corporation, even if you are just two people. So that's kind of what we work on structuring and in any specific project or outward into our business as a whole and structuring and organizing our business is to determine how much we're going to pay Uncle Sam, when we're going to pay Uncle Sam, and why we're going to pay Uncle Sam. That's what I think.
Yeah. So IRS, SEC, all them good people over there that was listening.
We good.
We good.
This is not financial advice.
No, at all.
Yeah, so what got both of you guys to do this like together?
Yeah, let me tell y'all. So, as Jay said, he is a licensed attorney, right? And so we both went to HBCUs. I went to NCAT, he went to Morehouse.
You guys pledged too,
He unaffiliated.
He's the GDI.
Smoothest
GDI I've ever seen.
Free agent, yeah, super free agent. So he was in law school, and I was in my senior year at NCAT. I'm doing my senior project. I got a background in information technology, so dev, I be a nerd, geeked out. So he calls me, and he's taking a tax class, and so funny that you asked like what made us get into thinking about taxes. Yeah. He's taking a tax class, and he just calls me. He's like, "Yo, bro, we need to start a business." And then I said, all right, why? What do you mean? He's like, bro, I'm learning tax stuff, and in order to spend in order to spend the least amount of money on taxes, we need a business. And so then I'm like, yo, dude, let's do it. Like I'm into just trying new things, kind of putting my hands in everything. I refrain from saying serial entrepreneur because I think that has a bad rep to it, and I could define it better. But I once was a serial entrepreneur, right? So I don't want to be that though. But so he calls me, he's like, yo, we need to do this, and I'm just like, bro, like that's illegal. That is legal. That you're talking about taxes, and I don't know anything about that, but I know you gotta pay those, and you telling me a way to not pay those. So let's talk about it. That sounds good to me. So we honestly we sat on the phone for probably like 2-3 days, and now I'm like, yo, bro, okay, so like business, how do we make money? What are we gonna do, et cetera, et cetera. So like I said, he's in law school, and we spoke just about every day before we actually got into this. And so I'm like, dude, when you tell me certain things, like you ever said said a sentence that had a couple of big words, or just a certain way somebody just says, huh? Like they just don't get it. Like they can't. Like using those big vocabulary. Exactly. So I'm like, yo, bro, when you talk to me, I could basically understand what you're saying. Like, I can comprehend what you're saying and what you're reading. So if we're about to create a business, we should educate people on the same way that we're about to run our business properly. We should educate people on how to do that. So that's really where we came up with what we wanted to do. Now, how we came up with the name, we were just sitting there, I'm like, dude, what are you gonna call this? And his name is Joshua, so we got Jay, my last name is Belfield, so we took the field, put it together, J Field.
That's more catchy too.
Yeah, I was saying, it's not like a rapper's name.
It do.
I was going off the music.
Yeah, so that's how we started, you know, just really wanting to educate people the best way on how to run a business, the best way on how to save for taxes, and not really actually tell them what they need to know, opposed to marketing to them and saying you need to do something this way, and them not knowing why they need to do it that way.
This is even, I just wanted to kind of like think about it, because I'm like, yo, that was December 12th, 2018.
Wow.
That was before anybody was on Instagram talking about business credit, and needing an LLC or PPP.
Help,
But to see kind of the evolution of business and the structuring to the project managing to the just full-fledged businesses that we're managing is like truly interesting to see, and it's also just cool to know that other people are also interested.
Yeah, literally. And I was gonna ask y'all this. So like, you know how you guys said you wanted to help people learn how to start a business the proper way, or whatever. So I guess my nitpick with like entrepreneurs, like I'm gonna say quote unquote entrepreneurs, is that they just call themselves that, right? And they don't know, okay, they just started. Not saying every business has to get like the proper start like all the time, but I guess what is the importance, can y'all stress the importance of consultations and learning to get the right information to structure it so and not constant trial and error every time, like error, then it's good, then error again. Could y'all stress the importance of that?
Yeah. I mean, for me, especially as an attorney, and when people come to me with asking certain questions like, yo, I need a lawyer for such and such, and I'm like, you don't need a lawyer for that, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you can go talk to a consultant about that, you can go talk to a business expert about that, you know. And the idea that, you know, there are people out here paying $4,000 to a law firm to file an LLC. And I'm like, yo, that's crazy. And at the same time, there's people paying whatever LegalZoom charge, and they're not even getting no banking documents. And so I'm like, that's kind of weird. Like, you paying $4K and you don't know what you're paying for, and you paying the service that everybody knows about, and you not even getting everything you need. So I think for me, it was just recognizing like there was a way to fill in the gaps, and you know that's something you can sell. So how quickly can I package that, and how quickly can I sell that, and who is it going to impact? What are we going to build from that?
And mine's slightly different because I'm not an attorney. But so in terms of like what you said, like, you know, there are these gurus or entrepreneurs that don't think that you need certain things to kind of get started. And I think that the reason why we stress it's so important is that there are things that's going to come down the line that you don't know about. You want to be prepared for. So in the same way that we just identified you don't really need a lawyer for everything that you may think you need a lawyer for, like having a lawyer is something that you need at a niche time.
It's
like
a blessing.
It's a blessing. Exactly. And or it could be a curse, because if you need a lawyer, it means you might be in something. But you know, just kind of knowing, just kind of being proactive versus reactive, because like, I mean, I once was an advocate of, yo, we don't need that right now, like why does it matter? But in business, you might want to go get some funding, you might want to go get a loan, somebody might want to see your business tax documents for the last 2 years to get approved for certain things. And you know, if you don't have that and you don't even know where to start, now you have to wait another 2 years to make money to then go apply for this thing. So, you know, doing it first.
That definitely goes into the strategic plan of it all. Like, you know, how much money you gonna make this year? How much money you gonna pay in taxes? How much money you gonna use to run your business next year? How much money are you gonna use to pay yourself? All of those things that you need to know today, not 6 months later when you realize and you've been pulling money out your business account to pay your personal rent. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and you know, that's kind of what we do with our clients, is we evaluate and ask them thought-provoking questions that they might not even really think about. You know, they might not think about, like you just said, like how much money do I plan to make over the next course, like the next 12 months or something. Like, do I want an event space? Like, what type of equipment may I need, and where are those funds gonna come from? Because they don't even think about that, needing that type of information or needing to know that type of information.
And I don't even want to interject. I loved how you said, like, sometimes you need to know the answer to these questions, like how much money I want to make this year, today, because like when I watch Shark Tank, like people be having like fantastic ideas.
Great.
And it's crazy because, you know, there's also people in New York City that diamonds in the rough, fantastic ideas, but they just want to do it instead of like, no, you need to know these things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
That's a fact. I mean, like, even something as small as hosting a little event for you and your friends, you feel me?
Yeah.
You got a pop-up shop, cool, whatever. You like, oh, all I need is get an event space, blah, 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 woo. Now, the next thing you know, you need insurance for the event space. Now people want to have drinks, like, and I mean, that's
contract.
And like, now people sitting here like, yo,
I
like,
need a license, a drink license,
like,
liquor
yo,
license.
like, yo, now, like,
just watching the pop-up.
you feel me?
Yeah, projections are important.
Yeah.
I like the fact that y'all stress like the projections and everything. I like that. I like that.
Bro, you gotta know what you're getting yourself into, cause I mean, like,
You gonna get hit with that fine, and you got no limited liability. And guess what?
Deadass.
It's going all on you.
deadass.
You're done.
One thing I like too is like when you walked in, you mentioned how you watched Cal's episode. I see a lot of relation between like what y'all speaking about now versus what like he spoke about in his episode. Yeah, so like it kind of got me to think like to ask you guys like what was your first year in business like together?
Well, it's a learning curve, and I'll say it was like, although we ventured out into our second full-time business, we're still very much so kind of growing the first one, and we're growing into a point of automation. And so I think for us, some of the hardest pieces is, for me personally, is working with other people. I pledge by myself. I'm an only child. I do everything by myself. Like, I think I'm self-sustainable. And it's not until you work with somebody that recognizes what your strengths and weaknesses are that you're like, yo, you actually need help with that. And not only do you need help with that, you need to change that. And so as well or as not well as I may or may not take constructive criticism, I think the hardest part was then like applying that and then doing something new, knowing this might not work, but still having that structure about the business to say, if I change the way I deliver this message 10 times, the structure's still gonna work. So like I can actually kind of relax and try something new, and trying something new is not always easy. So that's me personally, and so I would say that definitely resonates in the business, you know, trying new things, having new products, trying new procedures, working with new people.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys go ahead to like.
Oh, we.
Like I said, we just had a conversation less than an hour ago.
But you know, it's so crazy. I just feel sometimes stubbornness is not always a bad thing though. Because I've watched it, I forget who it is at this point, but he literally was so stubborn, like he was not taking criticism, but he would keep it in the back of his mind.
Absolutely.
But all it took was that one video, and then everything just shot up for him and everything like that. And yeah, he'll still take the criticism, but it's like he applies it like little by little by little. But I was like, had he not still been stubborn, he wouldn't have got his blessings or whatever. So I was like, sometimes maybe it's just me, but I think it can work, you know what I'm saying?
I agree.
No, that's a fact. I would just say to that, sometimes you know what you know. And you
And you have to be okay and confident and execute what you know and just be okay with the result. You gotta just live with it. But yeah, I mean, our first year of business was definitely interesting because he went to law school in Minnesota. So and so it's not, even though he went to Morehouse and I was at NCAT, we weren't that close. He was in another coast. So and I was still in school. Well, he was in law school. I was in my undergrad in my senior year. So pairing school with learning business, with learning how to do business with each other, within learning what our business is doing, that's 4 or 5 different things at once.
Learning how to be an adult.
Be an adult, right. We learned how to do everything. So the first year was definitely a lot of trial and error. We were trying a lot of different things. And more or less, I think we really created like our structure of how we wanted the business to run it, how we wanted it to move forward. So just defining small things like when do we get on the call? How do we take notes on the call? How do we remember things? We didn't have like too much of a full direction of what does consulting mean and how are we gonna get people to, how are we gonna advertise that we want to help people businesses.
Mhm.
But what we could do, and what we did do, was the internal work, like the beginning work, just making sure we can flow seamlessly through anything that might come our way. So it was a big learning experience, but I think what we did allows us to educate like others on who have unique situations.
Yeah, I would say I would just add to that to make it like crystal clear. We didn't have no clients for 6 months, but we had a weekly agenda.
Right. We're talking every week.
Like
Word.
weekly agendas. But once we did land our first client,
All it takes that
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
I don't think we ever took our foot off the gas.
Yeah.
No, for sure not.
So I'm a business. I'm brand new. I want to know, like, well, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that. I'm a business owner. I'm brand new into the game. I'm looking for consultation. I come to you guys. Then what? Like, for the audience, for anyone that's like that's interested in working with you guys, like, what's the process like when it comes to working with you?
Yeah. So it really depends on, well, if you say you're brand new, want to start a business, what we'll do is we'll get on the phone first. We'll have a call, which is just an initial consultation call. That's where we'll evaluate and ask some preliminary questions, probably not too deep into how much money you expect to make and what do you really want to do, but like, what's your ideas? Right. And so, whoa. But we really just evaluate what your business idea is, what your budget is, what's your timeline, and just really either address or dismiss whatever assumptions you may have about business. Because some people, like you said, you might come and say, I want to make $10 million and I'm in the studio and I'm trying to be like Rihanna and Fenty. Hold on, you need, like, do you have $500 to at least start something? And some people be like, no. Like, why do I need, like, what do you mean money? Like, I don't want that. Yeah, so, exactly. So, high level, we have an initial consultation call first. Once we evaluate your business, we'll send you a follow-up email if you want to move forward. So we do have a free 30-minute consultation call. So if you do want to start a business, have an idea, don't know where to start, click the link in our bio. We have a free consultation call, 30 minutes. We'll evaluate just what you have so far. After that, we'll send you an invoice. We'll send you an email with what we spoke about, just some key points, and we'll say, hey, if you want to go forward, here's the invoice. If not, we'll talk one day. And so after that, if you move forward with it, then our service is we basically hold our businesses or our clients' hands for about 60 to 90 days. And what that means is making sure that they have like their business banking set up, making sure that they have an operating agreement, making sure they understand what sole proprietor means versus partnership or S Corp or nonprofit, whatever they want to do, ensuring that they're educated on what they're getting themselves into. And then within that, it gets more deep in terms of how quick the client moves, what their goals are, etc. And then it just kind of branches out into different, more specific things. But that's high level, brand new. Get on the call with us, send you an email. If you want to move forward, there's an invoice with the email, and if not, then follow us on Instagram and keep watching. Yeah.
Yeah, so in terms of consultation, so I know it's a lot of things. Like I know you have on the cards right here.
Yeah.
And I know you're speaking on cannabis, cryptocurrency,
Entertainment.
real estate. Okay. So like, how do you juggle all of that?
Yeah,
That just sounds like a lot.
So, it sounds crazy. It does. I must admit, because I think a majority of the people that I say that to, they're like, yo, bro, what? But we have identified just the basics of business. And so what I mean by that is the very foundation. So having your business bank account set up, understanding to not mix your personal funds, and having your entity set up, structured properly for what you want to do. Beyond that, or besides making sure that your initial foundation is proper, juggling it actually becomes a little bit more seamless for us specifically because we have personal interest in all of these industries as well. So in terms of staying up to date with like the news or the regulations or the laws within that industry, that sets a good business apart from like a great business.
Yes,
So
correct,
we
correct.
stay very focused on understanding like, hey, I don't know if you all know or remember, but like when that electric tax came out, that was only around for not too long. And if you had an electric vehicle or solar panels on your house, then that can benefit you. So if somebody got a brick and mortar, you might want to look into solar panels because now that's something that during tax time you could get a good rebate on. And so if
and now they got the black truck one that ends at the end of this year.
right,
So
exactly. And then last year they had the food one where you could get 100% back on all your meals. So just knowing those things and how they can apply across all the industries, because if you think about it, like real estate and cannabis per se, right? How do those relate? You can find strategic ways that they either go hand in hand, or if we're talking about tax benefits or what specific benefits, if you have a cannabis store, they can use solar panels in the same way that the real estate can use solar panels. So there is some information that's specific to industries, but there's a lot more information that's just specific to businesses. And knowing how to apply it to your business, no matter the industry.
It goes back to that quote. You know how they say like knowledge is power, but I loved how y'all worded it. He was like, information is the best like currency.
Yep.
But I looked at that, I was like, that was so. Because you can literally maneuver with information and stuff. And you said 100% off. I was like, what?
Right. And I think it's just also kind of like interesting in the way we mesh the basics of business aside with the industry, aside with our network as well. And so kind of the way we operate is that once we've identified the structure of your business, the kind of silo and speed of your business, now we work together and sit in our cribs on a strategic plan and a very clear strategy and checklist for who can you work with within our network. So, we have certain real estate clients. Who can they work with, particularly in New York, to help maybe fund or help look for a new brick and mortar location for a cannabis company that's going through and trying to get approved for the new card application in New York.
Wow. So basically, it's like, all right, we go through y'all, right, and then y'all basically, because a lot of people think, okay, I'm gonna do a business, link up with this, and I start to do the networking. You should still do the networking, but y'all basically become like the overseers, like the strategic planners, like. That's why.
We try to to an extent, orchestrate.
Y'all still do it though. That's enough. That's enough for a person that's like, wow, that's really helpful because sometimes a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people sometimes think, okay, they gotta do this, they gotta do this, they gotta do it, but then when you get to someone who can take that stress off you, that's fine.
So here we are, your business brain, your certified business brain. So anything that that admin work or the stuff that you might think that you can't necessarily maybe comprehend because it's a stature, it's a whatever, a document, a contract, it's gonna go over your head. So we're gonna not only keep you up to date on the industry specific changes, but you can also come to us and say, hey, I don't get this or I don't understand this. Can you help? Or what does this mean? So that's how we,
Once you're in the network, you're in the network.
Once you're in the network, you good.
10% off. I think it's 10 to 20% off all additional services from there for you and anybody you refer. And then besides the discount, it's the idea that every time you join the JFIL network, you're gonna be really surrounded by a bunch of other like-minded business professionals that not only take their businesses seriously, strategically plan for their businesses, but also obviously want to network with other like-minded business owners. So
really pay to play. Really pays to play.
That's a fact.
So you guys said that it was more so industries that you guys like as well. So I'm assuming that all of these things that you guys tapped into are things that you guys probably have like your own thing going on on the side.
Yeah, I would say because I wouldn't personally want to involve myself with anybody's idea who I'm not passionate about. And you know what I'm saying? If even though I might be able to say, hey, I can help you with this, or I'm able to provide you this level of assistance, The idea that I will be your business brain means that I do have to immerse myself not only into your industry, but into your day-to-day business, into your procedure. I'm not running your business, so if you decide that this is the way you want to do it, not only do I have to respect that, I have to support you in that.
Yeah,
And so if I'm doing something like lobbying for the Republican Party as a business, I don't care. Like you know, there's certain things I do care about when it comes to the Republican Party. Yeah. But when it comes to starting a business that's gonna help the Republican Party or take away money from our communities because it wants to go out, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not gonna put my time towards that. Now, if you want to just work the little $500 and get your LLC and get your 90 days worth of business consultations, I got you. I'm gonna give you your strategies and checklists. I'm gonna give you the same basic information as well as the detail that I give everybody, no matter what industry they go down. But the deeper turn the key for blockchain, for cannabis, for entertainment, for real estate is a lot more robust, and I think that just creates the additional value.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, so if you guys at home are interested in those 4 things right there off the bat, you guys should be tapped in with JFU. Yeah. So I was actually going to.
My homegirl told me that. She told me this. Shout out Leslie, because she knows she don't love this. She was
What
like,
up, Leslie?
she was like, you should start like a cannabis business or whatever. I was like, bro, that's a lot. But she's like, think about it.
Yo, I would say right now, like, I won't even take this too far. Cannabis in New York right now is as much of an emergent industry as cryptocurrency is around the world.
Oh,
And if we as the African American young community understand that, we will have the step up that we didn't have 20 years ago. And you feel me? But we do have to immerse ourselves in the knowledge, in the structure, and stop giving a fuck about who's smoking the best weed and who got the most money. Like, you feel me?
Like think about we like to think about more about the education behind it. So like who got the why is it the best? What is the science behind, like
what's the science behind
you know,
it?
we can get real into the technicalities of, and it doesn't even have to be like what is a cannabis like business. Like it could be products, it could be growing, it could be distributed, it could be so many different things. And exactly, so these are the things that we get into.
Yeah, I know where y'all remind me, like, so this is when, like, okay, it's no correlation, but it's gonna tie together, right? So, LeBron had blocked Andre Iguodala, like, at the finals or whatever, to win the Cleveland championship or whatever, right? So then there was YouTube videos that would do, like, sports science or whatever. Y'all remind me of those guys that would break it down. Which is as fast as it is, but he's the best. Like, I like that, because I like to jump break down the science. Because people are like, oh, I can just do that, but it's like, no, it's fake, like a science to it.
It is a science to it.
That's wild.
So I was gonna say, like, let's run through like all 4, and like you guys could tell us like what it is that you guys like about those industries, as well as like, you know, your own personal, I guess you could say, uses out of them, or like however you want to word it, and I guess we can share our thoughts as well too.
That's cool.
So I guess we can start with.
I'll go 1 minute per each one. You want me to go 1, 2,
Yeah,
2?
Like, doesn't matter which one you
Blockchain.
Blockchain.
Blockchain, I think I personally love the idea of decentralization.
I do.
You know what I mean? I was reading an article even this morning that Google has gone and started to like look at people's metadata and take away the Kanye West Drink Champs interview. And the idea that a larger corporation that you're using just to store your data is looking at your data and saying, yo, that violates our terms of service, take it down. But in the same way, you know, somebody like Jeffrey Epstein got all this kind of child pornography and weirdo shit. It's like, that's not violating terms of service. So the idea that there are larger corporations controlling the way we think, like Twitter, wow. It's wild to me.
Wow.
And so the idea that we can break that with a line of code, you know, is like kind of stupid crazy. The idea that we can have a cryptocurrency that acts as a central location that I can store my data in, that data is encrypted and can't be seen by another person is like, yo, what? And then at the same time that I could use that same token and sell it to the open market for 100 times what I bought it for, but at the same time I could use that token and manipulate it to make a smart contract. That's wild crazy to me. And the idea is that, you know, you can automate essentially any type of a business is
super crazy because I mean, I'm sitting here doing this all day. Like, if I don't have to do this and I can press a button and make a function happen, it's lit.
Yeah.
So that's why blockchain for me.
Yeah, I would say with blockchain, I like it a lot because, well, I mean, too, I like the security behind it too.
Mhm.
Like I was just explaining, who was I explaining to? I was explaining to somebody the other day. I think it was, I really forgot who it was. It was like somebody elderly though. And I was explaining how like the security behind blockchain is really deep compared. I think it was my barber. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't know.
always the barber shop.
I really don't remember. Like it's just like an older figure to me. Like you
Yeah.
feel me? Like someone like my pops type shit. But like I was talking to them about how blockchain is like, you know, the security behind blockchain isn't just like a firewall. Like it's deeper than that.
Right.
Yeah, so I like the security behind it, but so I also like the decentralization because the things you get away with.
Yeah.
Like for example, I remember one of my friends, like I introduced him like to the whole crypto thing. He's a huge supporter of this podcast too. Shout out again to Alejandro. I know he's definitely watching this. He was telling me how when you apply for the cards, like the credit cards, those are in crypto and they kind of serve as prepaid. So it's like the money that you're making off of crypto, you could use that, you know, through like ATMs and stuff. Like you could withdraw it.
Yep.
And he was telling me how like you could legally avoid your taxes that way in terms of like being taxed on it. I don't know how true it is, but you know that's like something he told me, and he was telling me how like, you know, you just like, let's just say it's crypto, it's like let's just say you had like $1,000, you could withdraw $1,000 without having to worry about, you know, going through documentation and stuff at the end of the year because this is like a prepaid card basically.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was a sneaky hack that he kind of showed me right there. Like I'm sure thousands of people are doing where it's like they're collecting all their money, you know, profit free, tax free and whatnot. And then it's like there's other people that's withdrawing it. As soon as they withdraw it, you know, it's documented.
I'm saying.
Yeah. Like so that's why I definitely like the decentralization aspect of what's going on with it.
And I think for me, blockchain, just to talk about blockchain, is the transparency behind it. So even as Jay said, just kind of how Google might be looking at your metadata, or if you're familiar with crypto, FTX, the exchange just went down.
Yeah.
Nobody
Yeah,
knew
I was gonna
what.
ask how that.
Yeah, you know, like nobody knew what was happening behind the scenes. Even you're just listening to this trusted entity, and with blockchain, using that technology, you know, you're able to have transparency where you can see that X amount of money just moved here and X amount of just did that. And I think transparency is big in the world, but you know, our community, especially because you need to just know what's happening. You need to be aware, you need to be educated, you need to be knowledgeable. And so with blockchain, you can do all of those things. So that's why, you know, it's big for me. And if I just quickly just touched another industry that's like kind of like personal that we are involved in, it would probably be the cannabis one, because I'm sure, you know, same thing, working, trying to reverse or mitigate the things that have, the position that we're in, just kind of as African Americans, like we've all probably have an uncle or a cousin that's been affected or locked up by cannabis. And especially in New York City, like there are programs in place that are like the card application. We had a few people that we're actually waiting to see when that's dropping so we can see if they got approved. But we filled out a couple of card applications, and that was specifically for distributors, and the city is going to fund you. It is going to help you find a location to sell at. It's going to help give you some money to set up a legal weed shop so you can legally sell your weed. And they was giving it to convicts. They were giving it to people convicted of a marijuana felony. But if you had to come out of jail, you have to have a felony, come out of jail, and then start a business and have 2 years of business tax returns. So boom, about why do you want to stress doing things properly beforehand? Because if you wait, you might miss out on something. So the cannabis industry, like Jay said, you know, that's just as big as crypto is around the world. And I'm pretty into just like those emerging markets and just kind of seeing how they really go. So, you know, cannabis is definitely one that I think is just like blockchain, something that Black people in America specifically should get into and understand and immerse themselves in, because we're not gonna not gonna go here overnight, but if we don't start, then you know
Never.
we're never gonna go anywhere. And it's been how many years before it's even it's come so far after however many years, and you don't know how many times you're gonna keep getting something that's so like big, you know, like a chance to make a real change or difference. So yeah, that's just a little bit about another industry that we work in.
Yeah, I like the cannabis one because it's something that's really moving fast. I've been to pop-up shops where it's just been straight cannabis. I'm just like, wow.
Right.
And it's like I feel like almost every pop-up shop I've been to, there's at least one cannabis stick. But to go into, you were speaking about like emerging markets. One I would actually advise a lot of people look into is like actually the food futures. So like soybean, coffee, corn, water. Like, that's just something that I've been, if you know me personally, I've been speaking about it for like the longest. So just a little reminder because when it blows up even higher. So I would say like just like agriculture, so like meat, coffee, water, even water. Water is like a commodity now, so it's like things of that nature.
Yeah, and paying attention. I think knowledge, like that's something I just want to say. I hope I say it 30,000 more times, but knowledge, be knowledgeable.
Yeah, be knowledgeable. Yeah.
You need that because he just said, yo, futures. Y'all probably like, what the heck is a future? Like, I don't even know what that is.
You got to stop and tell everybody. Open a new tab,
right,
and Google agricultural futures.
Yup, and how to get there. Like these are the things that you need to know because it opens up the doors, like not even just for a conversation, but an opportunity, but just so many things that you either wouldn't have thought about or you don't know how to tie together or apply. So knowledge, and apply that knowledge.
Yeah, one thing my friend Raph, he says, shout out to Raph, he's gonna be here soon. But one thing that Raph always says is you want to invest in the things that you normally consume. Like not just consume like eating, but just consume as in like you spend your money on. And these are the simplest things. I know it sounds crazy that yes, I can invest in water, but yes, you can. Like I just did what's it called? I just did a episode with e-commerce and drop shipping with my previous guest Marvin. He's one of the co-owners of this place. And he was telling me like it's the simplest products that you wouldn't even think that you could put your money into and sell that people would sleep on. And it would be, and not even that would be the most randomest things.
Steel, wood.
He was just like in the episode, he was saying like paper towels. Like you wouldn't think, wow, paper towels can make me rich. Like obviously that's why it's in storage. But
it's still crazy. What was it? Tissue paper went out in the pandemic.
Oh yeah,
there you go.
It's still crazy.
Yeah, but that's just the concept right there. Invest in the things that you put your money into. Whether it's through a stock, whether it's just the commodity itself, look into it.
And y'all touched on cannabis and what was the business? What was the other? Blockchain. What was it? And then the other two I gotta touch on.
Yeah. So for me, just to give like on entertainment, right? I've always been a big fan of the entertainment industry, whether it relates to hip hop, whether it relates to film, whether it relates to art, traditional art. I truly do appreciate creatives and I respect them to the depth core of me. And I think for me personally, that's also something that is unique to me as an attorney because most people be like, oh, if you didn't go to school to be a doctor or a lawyer, who cares? Like, I want to be a rapper.
I wish I could tell you,
making it like this.
I wish I could tell you the conversations that the things that he be trying to approve through the business. I'm like, yo, bro, whoa, nah, bro. And you're like, no, bro.
But it's crazy because innovation is key these days. So you never know. Like a year from now, you might be like, damn, the idea probably would have worked.
Yeah. I'm saying.
Yo.
I'm not saying take every idea, but be realistic. Like, damn, this idea really could have worked. This one probably not. So
I'm saying.
So I'm glad I did it.
So like for me, that's where it started. And growing up, I did have a number of friends who did decide to take the entertainment route, whether it was becoming a rapper, becoming a filmmaker, becoming an actor, etc. A reporter, not for real. And like to see the intersectionalities of entertainment, it stems from journalism. It stems from that's where it all stems from reading and writing, and the idea that we don't see reading and writing as an art, it's just kind of weird to me
Crazy,
because
yeah.
I'm an attorney, I read and write, and I'm an artist too, so I could be a rapper, right? Like you gonna sign me right now?
Yo, Jay Frank,
You gonna sign me?
Jay Frank is so much of an artist. He'll turn this into something that
Yeah, I like
that
that.
you got
He's
paid.
like, yo, you're a
My
natural
boy
creative.
is like this, Picasso.
Yeah, natural creative.
Yeah.
Not to cut you off, but I love how you said that because that's kind of what it is with this podcast. I want people to understand that, you know, certain businesses, just because it's not suit and tie, you're not in the office, it's still a business.
That's a fact.
The generous
So,
live.
yeah, I like that up. Like, you know, people would think, like, you know, even for the episodes I've done so far, some people would think this industry, I'm surprised, I would never think this is a business, but we educate you.
No, absolutely,
That's good.
absolutely, and I mean, even to a point Kevin Hart made, it's like, you know, his comedy is an idea. It's
Yeah,
an idea
it's
that
an
turns
idea.
into a business. You feel me?
Yeah.
The comedy turns into an IP. You sell the IP. You know, like we have sold parts of J-Field at times, collateralized it, decollateralized it, sold it, tried to get funding, got told no, and went and told somebody else, yo, this is how much our company is worth, and got the funding. Like everything is a business asset, and when you start to recognize yourself as a business asset, you start to also recognize the way you can juggle those things and become creative with doing that. So like to tie that back into entertainment, all of those individual actors, rappers, artists, they are business assets. And unless you want to respect yourself like that and then take the time to study the creativity behind your brand and what you're putting out and what people want to see, that's a full-time job.
That's
Like,
a full-time job.
that's what Atlantic Records do all day.
Mhm.
That's what A&Rs do all day.
Yeah.
But
YouTubers like Casanano and all of them and RDRC, bro, he broke
Just talk about
especially
that.
RDRC. Oh my god, bro, he
I
broke
was
that
just
down,
talking about
bro.
him earlier today.
Nah, word.
I was like, okay. I
Yeah.
was like, it's business. I'm
No.
sold. I'm sold.
Even rappers like T Grizzly, he said he don't even go to the club no more. He said on a game.
We sit on streaming,
Just
streaming,
money
bro.
on Twitter.
Streaming is a business.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I see C Blues doing that too now. Like people
Exactly.
starting
C Blue,
to
yeah, C
expand
Blue is
and
doing
do
that,
different
yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Now, like,
And you know the biggest thing like within respecting or not even respecting but understanding that your brand is your business like opens up so many different doors. So
Different doors.
like you know like how we just said T Grizzly is playing video games. That's the only
Money Man.
reason
Oh,
Money Man like
watching.
it's not because they're rapping on the video games. It's not because people know them from rap or it probably is because they know them from rap, but their brand is established and you can take that to other things.
Exactly,
You know?
correct,
Even
correct,
LeBron, like there was the whole
Yeah.
thing, what, last year, 2 years ago, the shut up and
Shut up and
dribble,
dribble,
you know,
yeah.
they talking about yo, I'm more than a basketball player
Yeah.
because they established a brand.
Nah,
Jay-Z?
I'm always
Right, Jay-Z,
Yeah,
all that,
Jay-Z.
everybody.
It's
Yeah.
like anything Jay-Z touches, everybody wants it.
Since high school, bro.
Exactly.
Like, I've been a business mindset since high school, bro.
Exactly.
That's different.
Yeah, so you know, just helping entertainers
You be
understand
capping
that.
though. You, like LeBron the type to open up this book right now and be like, yeah, what's going on?
Yo, LeBron,
I
Yeah,
think
LeBron James is
was
bugging.
gonna get into real estate.
I knew they was gonna have 4 industries. I knew that.
I knew.
4 of them.
LeBron is bugging and he should have not said nothing about Kyrie. That's all.
Word, but
He should have articulated something better. That's all.
yeah, he needs some.
He
He need medium prep.
disappointed me. He let me down a little
He
bit.
need medium prep. He thought he was a little bit too good.
I think he's supposed to
tweaked out.
he was listening to NBA's PR.
And not.
Not his own
Nah,
PR.
Don't be honest. Nah, word.
So he didn't say nothing.
But whatever.
And then for me, entertainment, why I enjoy that as an industry is really more on the making sure, my thing is just education. I think a lot of people, so how you said earlier, like people ask why do I need to set up my business a certain way? Why do I need a business bank account? I think there are a lot of artists out here that don't understand how to like put it, they get it finesse, plain and simple. And like there are successful people that go independent, and there are successful people that don't sign with the label but with a distributor. And like I don't know if I know that artists don't necessarily know the difference between a distributor and like signing under a label. Like those are 2 different things. And maybe even understanding what it takes to go independent and knowing that one route is not the best for everybody. I was watching Drink Champs the other day, and DJ Enough talking about how he like being independent Thing was talking about how he likes management, like he likes being under a label. And they both relatively successful, right? Like they both doing their own thing, and it's really about you and what works and being knowledgeable on the different ways you could go, because you may think because your man's from college is verified on Instagram and does everything alone and whatever he be saying on the internet is the way to go or the cool way, whereas your way, you might need to talk to a label and make sure you don't get finessed into a deal. But you might be like, yo, bro, I got 50 songs in the vault and I can make 3 projects and I'm out of here in 5 years tops. How much you need? Like how much I'm gonna get? And that might be a way better play for you because of how your life is. So for me, it's more about for entertainment specifically about just letting people know that you have options, you know, like you have options, you can build the brand through this, but don't be linear within what you're doing. So yeah.
And that's I'll even like interject. So that's the reason why I like growing up, like A$AP Rocky, like he was one of our biggest stars to come out of New York. And you could say Joey Badass too, right? And I remember that time frame, like 2011.
Y'all were not outside.
And I know how you said like distributor and everything like that. So I remember A$AP got signed for $3 million, and Joey was like, "Oh, I'm never." He said it unorthodox. I'm not taking no less than $3 million off the top. Turn down Jay-Z. I'm like, "Well, why are you turning down Jay-Z?" You know what I'm saying? But then I realized like A$AP is, and that's why I say like rest in peace A$AP Yams too, because when you have a team that can educate you, like nah, instead of like going under a label that can control you, take this. And then Joey started to see like he built his name up, and then boom, that's when he started to like level up or whatever. So that's why I was like, the entertainment industry. That's like one of my man said he literally just stopped rapping and just like, nah, I want to go into I want to start managing. That's what
I've been seeing people say stuff like that, like OP, like that's definitely.
Yeah, OP. Oh my.
I told you,
God,
I want OP on the show, bro. Like, there's so much
His
I'm
mind
gonna
is
speak to him
crazy.
about from a managerial perspective, because like
He be making all those collabs happen, bro.
even the interview we just did with P Films, I'm just like, yo, I see this guy in a whole different light. Like, it's really different when you look at yourself as a business as opposed to just look at yourself as the millionaire.
I love how y'all covered that. You have to look at yourself as a business ass.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even like, you know, within building your name, you know, the saying, fake it till you make it, right? And I have 2 sides to that, because I think there's some people that's faking it a little bit too much. And there are sometimes you do have to look at yourself from a higher point of view in order to achieve that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Right. So within people wanting to be this image or build this brand, like it's a certain way that you should do it. Whereas, you know, just simple things like if you're already kind of established, you got 10K on the gram, somebody's like, yo, come host my event. There are people who are gonna say, all right, I'll be there. And they're not gonna worry about what's gonna happen there, make sure they're set up, make sure I have a ticket for my man who's gonna drive me there because I forgot to ask for a budget or a Uber or
psychology with it.
Exactly. So just respecting yourself just at that level. Not even, yo, I got a fly chain and I'm pulling up in the belly, but yo, make sure I'm situated, comfortable, and set up in the same regard that you would make sure Future is, or you would make sure Jay-Z is, or whoever the case may be. So yeah, that's a little bit about that. Strategies and checklists. And then just the last thing, real estate. I think that one is relatively self-explanatory. I mean, real estate is all over. America's for sale.
America's not like that.
America's for sale. I think McDonald's is actually one of the largest. Like they have the most real estate, I think, in America, if I'm not mistaken.
McDonald's, Disney.
Right, McDonald's,
Yeah,
Disney.
you're right.
Amazon about to come. I'm pretty sure y'all done see some Amazon factories pop up here and there. It's going crazy. So
Amazon low-key became what they went against, though. That's funny. Think about it. Now they open up stores, but they understand the values.
Yeah,
real estate stores. So.
Exactly. And so real estate, I think that can intertwine into all of the other 3 industries relatively seamlessly. So I think that turns into ownership, that turns into, you know, how to leverage a house for this, put it in the house in your business name so you can get a larger line of business credit. It's commercial things. We're in the studio right now. This is real estate, finding the best.
Correct.
You know, somebody could own this and rent it out. If somebody was just sitting on this, we have strategies on how you can make money from your assets. So I think real estate allows us to be very creative and allows us to utilize our network and say, talk to developers, realtors, people, fund managers, etc., and say, what do you have? Here's what we have. Here, what do you have? Do you have something for this? You know, we could get very creative within that industry.
And the reason why I like real estate in one sentence is because there's something called a 1031 exchange, which means you could transfer one house for another house and not pay no taxes.
Yeah. So you run.
That's run good for me.
Yeah.
Good for me.
And I'm actually glad that you guys like do consultation on real estate because it's funny because I'm still gonna bring up because originally like I had a realtor that was scheduled actually after you guys, but he had to cancel because he had an injury. But one thing I was gonna speak to him about that I'm gonna speak to you guys about is just like people that just want to keep overusing that. Like it's just so cliche to hear it, but like people always want to keep talking about this. Let's invest it into property, but they have no plan. Like they just say it, especially because they hear like.
You're right.
Especially because it's like they hear like rappers say it and things like oh let's buy the block.
It's the cool thing.
But they don't have like the plan. They don't know where to start. They don't know what it is, and it's like people would say something like I had a friend one time. He's like, damn bro, if y'all think about it, bro, it's like we in a club right now. We just spend money on bottles. He's like, what if we took that money for the bottles, put it together, and we bought like a rental property. I'm like, well, first of all, that money's not gonna afford it.
Right.
Second of all, what's the plan? What's the strategy? Like,
Things that sound good, and I think that's part of the problem with the internet. There's too many sound bites.
That's
we could get into it.
That's what you guys come to J-Field for.
Yeah,
They tell you how to do it.
That's a fact. And there was something you just said, you said people don't really have a goal, they don't know like where to start, or they don't have a plan, not even a goal, but it's not even about where to start, but where you gonna end? Where's your end goal? Like,
you said episode 1, was it LLC question mark?
Yeah, question mark.
Yo, I be saying probably.
Question mark. I knew you was gonna bring that up.
Question mark. Like, oh man, listen.
I think the idea of like get into real estate because we should and it's a good idea. Is very much so as like poorly attenuated as let's build generational wealth.
Yeah.
Like
To everybody on the internet out here telling people let's build generational wealth, like please stop.
Like what's the
$1, $2, $3,
Yo, we can all build generational wealth by learning the best way to play Monopoly. It's gonna teach you real estate and it's gonna teach you how to invest and get rent.
Yeah.
You should play Monopoly every day until you die. Build generational wealth. And teach your kids how to play
I feel
Monopoly.
like Cal said that. Cal and Taylor, I think they said that in the
Facts, you talking about
I still would have played that man, but nah, I was like, I'm ready.
But the larger point is like you cannot continue to say cliche things that sound good, things that are going to create a very large soundbite that 750,000 people is going to go double tap.
Yep.
If you're not also going to provide them with the book of information and knowledge on like how you do that. Otherwise, you be in a sound guru.
It's crazy because I've grown like since season 1, right? And I'm not even gonna cap. Like, so I had a book. So like I'm getting into real estate right now. Like for once, I'm not procrastinating. I'm not saying, oh, get into real estate. No, like I'm actually getting into it. My man's actually successfully ran through the course or whatever, and he ran through a free course. Mind you, we got a free course about it. And I'm a kind of a guy where I need like this was a time where I was just like trying different things. So I'm starting with like wholesale real estate, which is I'm not saying it's like the bottom, but it's something that can introduce you to these things, right? And I purchased $1,000 and I kid you not, the guy did not Reese, I'm telling you this right now, bro. Oh my, bro, I literally felt like I was looking on what is wholesale, but that was it. Like I got nothing out of that. But I went through the same wholesale course I gave to my mates for free, bro. When I tell you, I was like, I'm literally sitting on a deal right now because of that. A course that I gave my mans for free. We're about to make money out of it, but of course I paid $1,000 for it. I basically got screwed over, and I couldn't blame nobody but myself.
I told you about these courses,
bro.
Yeah,
you know what's so crazy?
These courses crazy.
The thing is, and that's how I was gonna tie to the last point I was gonna give y'all like a lot of props on. Cause it's really just consumption. Like he branded himself like everything is legit or whatever, and I'm getting recommendations like, "Yeah, go through this guy, bro." I didn't learn. I swear to God, I didn't learn shit. Like I'm not even about to. I can't even sugarcoat it. That's all I was about to tell. Like I was going to give y'all a lot of confidence because I noticed when we was talking, the key thing I'm learning from this is just consumption. Y'all telling me Google can track data, this, that, and third way. I want to go to Mark and tell him stop blocking me on Facebook. So it's like it's consumption is dead. The big thing because one thing you see on Twitter is get an LLC question mark. Then when you have somebody who's like, no, there's another way to do these things and there's a proper way to do this, you'll just turn it off.
That's
it's
right.
like you're wasting my time. But in all reality, it's like I'm actually trying to help you. So it's consumption is a big thing to me. Like we gotta watch what you consume.
And it's an image thing too, because you know how that goes, especially with people with the flyers. Like I don't care how hard you cross those arms, bro.
I
don't care how you
That's
cross
funny,
those arms.
and it's something that TJ and I truly thought very strategically about, which is okay. We like we spoke about. We do want to automate JField. We do want to automate the information and education that we're giving out. But there is currently this idea of an aura around courses. How do you tell a good course from a shady one? How do you tell good information from not good information while also trying to advertise your product? And I think that's why now we are now in a position where TJ and I are comfortable, one, backing our brand, but also saying like the information that you will receive in any course or any recorded content that we do put out that is going to be automated to the masses is not only going to stay relevant until we make a new one because we are going to stay up to date with the newest information, but also we're not just going to tell you what you can find out on Google.com. We're going to tell you the information that real professionals spend their time meshing through and really understanding and making sure it go up.
If we're gonna be honest, you can find anything on the internet, right?
You
can represent yourself in the court of the law of using the internet and knowing where to search. But that's the thing. What is the best question? Where are you gonna find information? How do you cull that data? Because the internet has pages. You could type in any word on Google, you won't get more than 10 pages every time, guaranteed.
That's why I love that quote y'all put on y'all page, like, cause that free information, I was like, if I just spent more time in that, but not paid for thousands.
Exactly. So it's out there, and like you said, consumption is the problem, but it's also the solution.
The solution,
So people are consuming the wrong things, and now when they hear, like you said, hear something right, they're just like, no.
That's the other 2-hour conversation about data consumption, algorithm.
Algorithm. Oh my, bro.
But
I go on all day about that.
To the point, decentralize the world.
Word.
Decentralize your thoughts, think for yourself, and once you decentralize Instagram, you'll realize that the reason why you don't see half of the things on your feed is because we want to show you one thing.
Yep.
And I mean, like, we're not one way. We don't post one thing on our story. So it's it's too deep.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, like, to answer your question, going back to when you said how to tell a good course from a bad course, I was gonna say, like, you remember in high school, like, those websites you had to submit your paper on, like, turnitin.com? Copy those courses and put them in there and see, like, the matches that you get from, like, a random article on Google, because I'm sure that's where they get most of this.
For surely. Definitely.
That's how I personally feel.
Me and my homegirl, she was tight. I was like, bro, I told her, like, we're not learning anything.
Did the person have a Lambo or a McLaren?
He got an international house.
He got with a house this time. Don't be it's a Lambo or McLaren. I tell people
it's
this
funny
every day.
because she was like it's funny now because now that I sent her the free course again too. She was like, bro, I learned more with this one. And she was like, bro, I need you to go start back teaching because I had a course myself, but I always I got down to the T with it. You know what I'm saying? Like when people ask how, I explained how. And my belief was, I don't care if you end up making more money than me. It's like at least you can't say I didn't tell you.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So that was my philosophy right there. So that's why I can't wait to I told myself once I make at least I say maybe if I want to be pushing myself, I say 5, 10. But I want to say I want to do a year with this and see how it goes from there. So
for sure.
I mean, you the one giving out the course, you better than the bank. You printing the money. So if somebody decides to press the button more than you the printer.
Yeah,
Yeah, sauce.
Yo, my personal, just to give a last point on courses, yo, if they be charging all this money for courses, you sit there and do some free, find the keywords. And do your research. Find the keywords, the research, the SEO, you'll realize that.
You'll find exactly what they was looking at.
And you'll find exactly what you need. And then you'll go back, and then you know what you're gonna do? In 3-6 months, that course is gonna be on sale for 80% off. Then you go get $30.
3 to 6 months, you're gonna be the one selling the course.
Yeah, you gonna be
y'all talked about application
Hopefully,
too, right?
Yeah.
So like, this is my philosophy too, right? Okay, I can teach you, I can explain it, but I'll also help you how to apply it.
Yep.
I remember I asked a simple question: could you show us a live example? Because I did a live example on my course. Bro, I got to run around, and I'm just like, and that's when I knew I was in trouble.
Yeah,
Like, I was in trouble.
yeah.
And I went back into like the other question he gave me a live example, and I hit up one of my homegirls, like, even though we butt heads a lot. But she said her mentor gave her a live example of it, and that's all I was asking. And I paid, she paid $500, and I was like,
Right.
I paid double the price, and I couldn't even get a live
And
example.
you know what's another good thing? Like having multiple sources to kind of check from. Like don't like even us. If you come to us, don't think we're just the main source of information.
Yeah.
Go check the internet. Ask somebody else you may trust. Ask somebody else that may be doing something similar and double check what you're being told, because that can help people not make a lot of decisions they may regret. Word.
So, as I would touch on is your book.
Word, yes.
So, this is,
You pull a LeBron.
I think,
wow.
I think, is that a mock?
No, that's,
No, it has other pages in it?
Yeah, that might be mine.
yeah.
No, it is a mock.
Oh, okay. Oh, you told me.
He's at open and shit. It's at
That you had the face when I opened mine. Yo, they forgot the lines?
Yeah, I'm just like, wait, hold on.
Nah, that's
No, but,
I'm glad
yeah, 'cause I didn't even know you guys had a book.
too.
Yeah, because I didn't even know you guys had a book. That's why it's just like, wow.
It's a notebook.
Yeah,
It's a journal.
Yeah.
Generally for writing notes and taking notes in your business meetings.
Yeah, Lost Art, by the way. Lost Art.
So the reason why we decided to specifically sell a notebook is because Josh and I, when we first started,
No takers of the money.
no takers are the money makers. And so me personally, because this was me, I'm like, bro, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not taking, I don't even know, take a note. I don't know what you're talking about, bro. So when we did finally get past that and then start doing the agendas and things like that, and we started to not only do it for ourselves, but realize that when we speak to others and we speak to clients, like, that's why we send email. That's why we send follow-up emails, because we know probably 9.7 times out of 10, nobody is like really taking notes.
Yeah.
And if we are taking notes, it's gonna be that you're probably too focused on the conversation to really understand.
Yeah.
So that's another thing we let our clients know, is that if you aren't a sole proprietor, we have strategies for sole proprietors, but if you aren't one, then you should probably designate somebody to take the notes, so one person can be focused to actually exactly. You feel me? So all of our clients, you gonna get you a nice notebook. Make sure that when you go to a meeting, if you don't got your laptop, you could just throw out your notebook real quick, jot down something. This is just note takers are the money makers. So we have a lot of symbolism within our products. So the book, the brain, the handshake.
This is your opinion.
Yeah. So
The handshake represents the network,
Yeah.
as TJ said. The brain represents the business brain that we
I like that, I like that.
project management and consultant side.
I like that.
And I mean, y'all can see the business cards, but I think one of the main things that we wanted to touch on was like, as we network and grow within the J-Field network, one of our things that we tell all of our clients is, like, have some business cards, Like, yeah, nobody gonna fault you if you get into a conversation on the train and you don't have any in your bag. But if you're gonna be at a networking event, if you're going to go to a meeting, if you're going anywhere where you are representing yourself, you should certainly have some business cards.
And even where you're not representing yourself, because I was just at a conference for my 9 to 5, and I'm like, I'm on job time. I'm not gonna bring any business cards. All I had was my laptop.
He signs my checks, so I'm always on company time.
Yeah. Somebody got to do it. So I'm like, I don't really, I'm traveling light. I should be all right. I end up getting into a conversation with a gentleman who runs a technology, AR, 3D modeling company. So he's sitting there talking, ideating. He's like, yo, my gosh, bro, we have to do this, we have to do that. You got a business card on you? And I just said,
That's crazy.
bro. I was just like,
Not even
yo, that's crazy. I mean, I had to bring it up, but I'm like, I always have my business cards on me. And the day I really thought about it, and I said, I should be alright. I'm not about to, just chilling. Yeah, bro. And I was like, so even just whenever have at least one, put it in the back of your phone case.
I see you got the phone case with the cards.
Right. You know,
This is like my actual like card, my credit card.
Yeah,
You see how I put one in there though.
You know what's so funny when I seen the book? Like I remember the time when now that y'all talked about note taking or whatever. I'll never forget this one time I brought my iPad, I got the keyboard connected, I was taking notes on that, and the thing died. And I don't got my portable. And they were and mind you, they were saying some valuable information, and then when it died, that's when I got the most valuable information. I'm like, I can't even
got it right.
That's like now I go back to pen and paper now.
And I think one of the things that I picked up for me is like when you're learning something, it's so much easier to hear it and write it.
Right.
And it helps you retain it better.
Yeah,
if you sitting here hearing it and then you just
Typing it,
you don't have to
retain it
say
better.
the cognitive connection that you do with it when you're writing it down.
It's crazy. I learned that in rapping. Like when I was battling in like
Sign
high
me.
school or whatever. Today it's like you're more likely to retain information if you write it with pencil and paper than just go on your phone and I remember so
We got all microwave culture now. We doing everything.
Yeah, I'm about to say,
we broken.
One day we'll get into a conversation about using technology to aid you and not replace the norm.
Yeah, because one thing I was gonna bring up was the dot cards. I don't know if you
Yeah. Those
that's like I didn't know they were real. I seen one in person. I was like, oh, that's
I didn't know they was really. I thought they didn't work. And then my man sent me a full tutorial.
too.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh gosh.
Yeah, I think between dot cards and a personal card, I personally, to the point, don't let the tech outweigh the brick and mortar. But I think both, cause I've definitely been in situations where I'm like, oh, let me give you a card, and somebody would be like, nah, I don't want that.
Oh my.
Yeah.
But it's crazy that that's becoming even more common with like even like well-respected professionals, and it's like, all right, so then my brain just goes to, so what's the best way for you to remember me? And it's like if I tap your little dot card and send you a text, you did that 75 times today, bro. And it's funny because when we go to conferences, we started something new. I'm gonna take a selfie with you and I'm gonna send it to you.
Word.
Oh,
that's the
smart.
new thing.
Selfie.
Cause me and TJ, he not gonna remember your name. I'm not gonna remember your
But
face.
a picture.
But I'll be like, yeah, yo, we met at such and such. It was so good meeting you. Whoop-de-whoop.
I just peeped that you working with celebrities. I just peeped. I did that with a couple celebrities.
Yeah, I
remember you.
I just did that last week. I saw Enos Cancer and Target.
Yeah, that was the most
It
random
was so
shit.
random. I took a selfie, but I didn't post it on my page. I posted it on like the What's Cooking page. I was like, who wants to see Enos Cancer on the thing? And he actually saw my story.
Yeah.
He didn't say anything.
Right.
But he saw your and then
He saw my
but
story.
and you know why it's good? Because even if the moment I learned this, it's like a hack, right? The moment they open it and they interact with your story or post, if you even send anything to them, they'll easily get your message.
Absolutely.
I learned that with the Shade Room. They was like, and that's why they would hit me back up. It was like, you got any videos? So I'm like, yeah, take it.
Yeah, like when people tag us, it says primary jump. Like you want to add it to primary jump.
Yep.
Like I learned, and I also had like this theory. Like sometimes I think Leslie did it. I could be wrong.
Leslie's always doing it, algorithm.
He'll tag celebrities
And his food.
in his food, and then
Well,
next
some of
thing
them
you know,
buy
they'll
it,
see it.
Absolutely.
And then it's like, oh, okay, you cook, and then boom.
Some of them actually like already do business, like especially the drill rappers, like all the people in the room, like they already tap into his food. So it's like don't tag them because they already know like he's a good chef. So they'll repost it just off the arm,
Algorithm. You gotta know how to use that algorithm for what you need, not for what it's giving you.
And don't let this go over your head. It doesn't just have to be a business card, right? I don't know if you guys saw my episode with Surprise New York City, but my boy Isaiah, he was telling me how because this right now like the hottest item he has are hats, right? And he ran into Trippie Redd, and Trippie Redd was like, I like your hat. Do you have another one? And he was like, damn, he was having a whole conversation with, but then like it went from like a good conversation to where he was just like, as soon as he asked him, do you have another hat? He was just like, damn, like his mood just went down because he would have loved to give him one, and sometimes too, I feel like not just like, I mean, that's a good example, but not just with that, but also with other people interacting with anybody, whether it's a celebrity or a big time investor, anything like that. You want to have like something on you that you can
Yeah,
show,
correct.
especially if you're doing clothes. Like,
Correct.
for example, this shirt. Like, I could have just told you guys about this shirt, but
Yeah.
this was made by my boy Chris. He sent it for me all the way from ATL. You know, he just made a startup brand, Kitty Boo Apparel. Check it out. But it's one thing if I told you guys, yo, check out Chris's brand, and I just send you like his Instagram, show you this thing. It's different if I have it.
I learned my lesson with Gunna, so I
Oh, you don't know what happened there.
This is when we was Gunna came to our school to perform, and I was promoting my man's brand from Philadelphia. But we had like a conversation where like my brand is your brand is my brand, and I'm a guy where
It's also no.
no, his name is Ugly Bryce or whatever. Shout out Urban Apparel or whatever. And Gunna thought my shirt was nice. And I was like, yeah, I got another one. So I ran, mind you, Gunna literally waited outside the back of the bus or whatever. So I get back, I run to my dorm, it was literally like a 5-minute like walk, but I could beat the time. I get back, not only does Gunna go into the bus, but then their bus still stayed. I knock on the door and it was like, and he was a room manager or whatever, but he's like, I'll take the shirt. But I don't think Gunna ever got the shirt because I'm like, because Gunna say y'all throw a pick on whatever. And the only thing I get is a picture with Gunna. But if Gunna if I had a picture of Gunna holding the shirt, the brand goes up immediately. Because we did that shit with PNB Rock, and that shit went up. RP PNB Rock or whatever, and that shit went up. So yeah, I was like, damn, and Gunna was like at the time hot, like he was hot.
Yeah, so like even like he walks around with a bag of hats now.
That's fire.
And he just like this. I don't know y'all know Spider Cuts on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like he's always
that's fire.
I'm trying to
he
set
has like
something
every
up.
color of the hats now, basically.
Yeah.
You feel me?
That's my homeboy.
Like, you know, like I said, it doesn't just have to be a card, it doesn't have to just be, you know, a website. Have like physical things on you. You know, definitely want to hand out a t-shirt. Even if it's not the size, you know, it is what it is. Because I remember, even with Freddie, he was saying like, you know, he gave Pop Smoke the wrong size, like sweatsuit of his brand, Prolific Fabric. You know, I have mine over there. He gave him the wrong size, but at the end of the day, even if Pop Smoke was to just take a video holding it, like,
It doesn't matter. That's it. That's it.
So it's
That's
viral,
it.
you know.
You can market that too, like yo, Gunna fuck my brand, Pop
Like
Smoke
he has
my
videos,
brand.
K-Flock, like Sleepy Hollow, all these people like just holding a shirt like this, you know. It does a lot for your business.
And just another small little some free sources. If you don't sell a product but a service, like you know, our main bread and butter is services, not necessarily products. Like have that little pitch, like have that elevator pitch.
Yeah,
like
trust me, I have a pitch in my
That was
you know, have that pitch. And you know, try and get in a video with a celebrity, like however, you know, but just have those little key things that just doesn't take a lot to just, if I just got 3 pins in my pocket and I got a pitch, yo, hey, look, this is what I do, this is what I sell, this is what I got, that's what you could do.
But a lot of these celebrities and influencers, they be picking people like off the streets because of that stuff. They
Bro, look at Lil Snoop.
I'm saying.
Lil Snoop got signed just by giving Meek what's it called, a CD.
Yeah, CD.
Yeah, he just gave him a CD. 10 minutes later, he came back and said, yeah, I like it.
Yep.
You know?
That's fire.
Things like that.
Word.
Yeah. So it's weird because it's like you guys kind of like had your different paths and you guys came together. So it's kind of a weird way to kind of ask this, but like, what type of advice would you give people that's kind of looking to do something similar to what you guys are doing?
My first, I would say, like, immerse yourself in the industry. Like, you're not going to make $1 million overnight, and you're not going to become successful overnight. So take the time to respect the process and also enjoy the process. You feel me? Enjoy learning, enjoy trying new things, and then really soak in that knowledge. You feel me? If you find yourself getting overwhelmed by trying to make one thing work one way, like, understand, if you take a step back and you come back tomorrow, you're gonna have an entirely new perspective at it. You know, businesses are not meant to die when you die. They're meant to be assets of generational wealth. So you're not gonna figure it out in one lifetime. You might need 3 or 4 lifetimes to figure it out. So like, respect that process.
Doing something similar to us in terms of us taking different paths. I think a big thing would be to do a self-evaluation and understand that, you know, understand your strengths and your weaknesses. Once you do something like that, then you'll be able to either identify a partner if you're looking for one, or just kind of see if the person you're about to work with can mesh with you, because people who are too much the same don't typically always work. People who are too opposite typically probably won't work. So just understanding that, hey, I'm in a sewing business and this person knows how to sharpen needles and I like to, whatever you do with thread, that's cool, and
It goes back to that quote again, the information and value.
Yeah, you know, like, you know, ask the correct questions, things like that. And to Jay's point, just I don't want to say like, oh, just, you know, take it easy on yourself, but kind of give yourself a little bit of grace in terms of having those hard conversations or those tough days, or just understanding that most businesses fail within the first few years. So if you're even running, like, it's a blessing that we're even still running after like 3-4 years. Like, even though we took our time and focused on, or because we took our time and focused on the basics and the structure of it, I believe that this is what, like, a strong foundation makes for a skyscraper. Like, without the foundation, there's nothing.
Right.
So yeah, just kind of understand that it does take time, and understand if you even need a partner. Some people don't need partners. Some people need more than one partner. Some people are running nonprofits and don't know they need a board, like, which is 3 partners at least. So and not you, 3 other people. So yeah, just knowing that and taking it relatively light on yourself.
It's a process. Respect the process.
Word.
Well, it was definitely a pleasure having you guys here. Jay Field.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
As one entity, Jay Field.
Yes, Jay Field. Yo, it's actually funny. Quick. Everybody thinks because his name is Josh or Jay Frank that he's Jay Field. So it was interesting that you're.
I see him over
right.
there.
Yeah. I be confused too. I'm like, yo, bro, my face is kind of old.
I feel like I should keep the running joke up, though.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
I fuck with it.
I fuck with
it.
It's funny, we do say, like, when we go out to eat, we get tables for 3.
Right.
It's
It's always Jay Field.
It's always Jay Field.
Just put a book there, like.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Nah, that's a fact, though.
No, but word. Appreciate y'all for having us.
Likewise.
It's been a good
Appreciate
time.
y'all for reaching out, you know.
Word.
Yes.
I mean, we reached out, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's all good.
It was a mutual.
The future, yeah, we're building a network. That's what we doing.
Yeah, I gotta work on my wording, but
Nah, it's
yeah.
all good.
But yeah, I appreciate you guys. You guys saw what's cooking with them. You can follow them. I'll put a picture of their card, but if you guys want to verbally let them know where.
Yeah, Jfield USA on Instagram, Jfield LLC on Twitter. Hit us there. Check out our content. We on YouTube.
Jfield LLC on YouTube, www.jfieldllc.com.
Yep.
TikTok, Jfield
Yeah,
LLC.
everywhere.
All platforms.
Except
Except Instagram, because that's Jfield USA.
Yeah, Jfield USA on Instagram.
Alright, so you guys saw what's cooking with Jay Field, right?
Yep.
And like I said, you know, make sure you smash the like button, you know, share the video. You never know who needs a business consultation right now, so, you know, definitely share the video. Subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram, follow them, show them as much love as needed. When you do get your consultation, let them know this episode is why.
That's a fact.